Is this what we're doing right now? Are you launching us? Sylvia, thanks for joining us. Good to have you. Curls has made me the co-host. So if she drops off, we are all in trouble. Sylvia, what is going on, young lady? Good to have you here again.
Good to see you all. How are you?
Good to see. I am better than I deserve, without a doubt. It is good to see you.
I'm making milkshake for the first time for my babies.
Nice. I made my milkshakes for the week, and I'm having it right after this call. But they're green. They're not really. No babies would want them. I actually don't even want them, but you know, it's got to be done. It's got to be done. It's good to have you, Susan. I love your gratitude group that you put on. I don't comment on it much, but I check you out every now and then. It's quite impressive. Love it. Love it. Love it. All right. Let's see here. Curls, I bet she's launching and not even telling us, isn't she? That's what she does now. She just doesn't even give me an opportunity. Thanks. She just thinks she's all sly.
You
she
know
just
when
does
I
all
said
this.
that.
She's just like, I actually wasn't paying attention. I was just hanging out with our people. You know what I mean? I wasn't really paying attention to that. Awesome. Well, welcome to our call. It is good to have everyone here. I've gone back to the Johnny P. What is up, dude? Good to have you, my man. All right. If this is your first time to our call, you know, anything that you want to say, just feel free to hop out, say whatever at any time. No need to raise your hand. We don't really have any rules. Just don't be an asshole. That's really the only rule that we have on our call here. So, and everyone pretty much abides by that. Curls, by the way, why did you take your picture off and now you just have a logo? Like, I mean, it's a cool logo, but you should at least have your picture next to the logo. I mean, you do that for all of us. You should do that for yourself. I'm just saying.
It's because it's a company Zoom account, so it's just the logo.
No.
But you have me live. You don't need a picture.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. As long as you stay and hang out with us. All right. So today, you know, I was looking over my notes, and there's actually quite a bit of me talking in them, which I don't love. So I'll try to get through it kind of quickly. In today's topic. So before we do this, all of you who are on the panel with us, and even those of you who are not, grab a piece of paper, like a writing, something to write on. It could be like a Post-it note. It could be a notebook. It could be a stone tablet. It could actually be anything, as long as you have the ability to write on. Let me know when you got something. All right. We good? Most people don't have paper around anymore, right? It's like, is paper still a thing? I like it. I'm just over here killing trees. Okay, so I want you to think about something and then write this down. Think about what comes to your mind when you think of something that you know deep down would move you forward if you were to do it consistently, but you don't, or you haven't, because of the time it takes or how hard it is, right? This could be for your business. It could be for your relationship. It could be for your mindset. It could be for your spirituality. It could be for anything. Just write it down. Something that you know, if you actually did it consistently, it would move you forward. It would have an impact, but you're not doing it right now. Except Jacqueline, you don't write because you're driving. So you just have to think of that and then just hold that there. Safety first. And Ian, you can't write gobbledygook. All right. Everybody got it? Okay. We've got, she wrote it down while driving, multitasking. I love it. I love it. I can't even walk and chew gum at the same time. And look at you making miracles happen. All right. So when we talk about, and we're going to get back to that. I just wanted you to write that down. So, you know, when we talk about building a business or making these types of changes, we talk about like sacrificing a lot, right? Like what it takes to achieve it, that we have to sacrifice. Like we're sacrificing the weekends and the nights out, or time with friends, or vacations, although vacations haven't really been a thing. A lot of times we have to give up playtime to handle our business, right? And a lot of times, we think of it like it's a painful thing, like, sacrifice, like giving something up. And I've definitely been guilty of this, especially with my health and fitness. But I'll like to think like I'm bad, right? Like I'm putting in this work that nobody else will do, and I like psych myself up, and that makes me feel good. But the problem with when I talk to myself like that is the language. I can make it harder than it really has to be. Like telling myself how hard something is, right, and all that I'm giving up and sacrificing. And I think that something that's helpful is when we start to look at it in terms of an investment and not as a sacrifice, right? So, I think that one of the biggest mistakes we make just as people on the path of success, whether that success is financially or physically or spiritually or in our interpersonal relationship, right? Like whatever it is, we think of it as a sacrifice. When we do that, we're making it extra hard on ourselves sometimes, right? So what I'd like you to do is start to just try to switch that mindset and think about it as an investment. Okay. Like try to understand that, when you miss the weekend with the guys, or you miss the night out with the girls, you pass on that trip, or you skip that dessert, or you wake up and exercise, or you set aside the time to meditate, whatever it is, you're not sacrificing anything. You're actually making an investment. And, because investment is really just delayed gratification, right? We just haven't seen the payoff yet. So when you miss a night out because you're building your business, or you take that time to nurture your relationship, you're not sacrificing a night out. You're making an investment in the future, and the investment in the future is going to create a better life. And that's what we're trying to get. It's going to create more money, better relationships, a better body or better health. It's going to create more confidence when you're getting something in return for what you're giving up. That makes it not a sacrifice. That is an investment, by definition. And what it really comes down to is understanding the delayed gratification, which right now, everything is right now. I want it yesterday. I want it all what I want. And that's, I'm that way, right? Like I'm talking to me. Okay. Like that's just kind of how we're programmed, I believe. So we have to focus to not be that way, and sacrificing just means we're giving something up, right? And investing is for the future. And we look at it like it's not something that we're missing. We're choosing to make that investment in ourselves. It's just like investing money, right? Like if I went down and I put an investment in whatever into my retirement, right, today, like I wouldn't expect it to be worth any more tomorrow, right? Like that's for the future. That's for down the road. And it's the same thing when we make investments in our relationships. And I think we need to remember that, when we talk to ourselves, because if we constantly tell ourselves that we're sacrificing everything, it kind of leaves us feeling empty, like we're sacrificing this and we're just giving and giving and giving. And we're always going to feel like we're not having anything paid back if that's our focus. Where we're always going to feel like if we're doing all these things for nothing, that's really not the truth, right? Like we're investing in us, we're investing in ourselves, we're investing in our future. So, now since I've been in this space, in the online space, I've seen a lot of people, struggle with this mentality, myself included, because I hadn't really accomplished anything yet. And can anybody relate to, you feel like you're putting in the work, but you don't yet have the result? When we do that, a lot of times and I have this conversation a lot, with my members and stuff, it's how can you encourage other people to do something that you don't have the result, that you haven't done? Like I have people say, well, how can I shoot an ad that says, hey, come live a life of freedom whenever I'm still figuring this out and I'm not there yet, and this is where role models and mentors come into play. People who've actually accomplished what we're trying to do. And, in the beginning, when we haven't had these experiences for ourselves, we just got to have a little faith, like, or even if you've been here for a while and you aren't where you want to be, and I know people who've been here for years and they're just not quite where they want to be. And that's okay, man. You just got to believe that it can work for you. And if it worked for the people that are your mentors and that are your role models, that it's going to work for you, man. Most of the time we just need to have like a little adjustment here or there, and the truth is that like we live in an environment where if you put in X, you get out Y most of the time. But the time frame is not the same for everybody. You know what I mean? If it was predictable, that'd be fucking boring, right? Like if you knew that if you did this for 19 days and this is the result that you're going to get, and in 3 more months you're going to get this, like where's the fun in that? So find someone who has done what you want to do. Pay attention to what they do and make the investments that they are making, and just trust that the result is coming your way. And one thing that got me thinking about this has nothing to do with business. The other day, I'll share just a quick story about, so, if you're on this call a lot, I'm in recovery, right? And I remember when I was in treatment, rehab, whatever you call it, one of the counselors told me, she said, Danny, you need to be more aggressive about your recovery. And to me, I was doing everything I could possibly do, right? Because I was doing everything that was in front of me right then. Right? I was checking the boxes, I was doing the work and all of that. So, first I got butthurt about it, right? Like, like she doesn't like me or whatever. But then after I put some thought into it, I'm like, she doesn't have anything against me, right? If she's telling me this, it's because she's here to help me. I'm sure she doesn't get paid a lot having that job, so she's obviously there because she wants to help people. And what could she possibly mean by this, right? And what I took from it was that I needed to do some things that were going to pay off later, not just focused on right now what was in front of me, which was hard for me to see outside of that at the time. And the biggest thing that I could think of was I was getting out of rehab like right before college football season, okay? Which I know if you're not American, I guess it would be like your football, your soccer, right? Which is like my jam, okay? And I had not, so I told myself I'm not going to go to any Gator games, Florida Gator football games for a whole season, okay? And that doesn't sound like a big deal, but like I love that shit, man. Like that is my that's my jam. I was a teenager, an early teenager before the last time I went a season without going to a game, right? And I'm not a teenager anymore. But to me, that was the biggest thing that I could think that I could sacrifice. Like back then, I wasn't even looking at it as an investment much. I was just thinking, what can I sacrifice? That means a lot to me right now. And that was the first thing that came to mind, right? So I did that. I made that commitment. And this is in the beginning of me actually learning to keep commitments. And I didn't go for a whole year. And I didn't understand it at the time because I felt like I could be in that environment. And the reason I didn't go was, for one, it's a big party atmosphere. But two, it was just the biggest thing that I cared about that I had the ability to take away from myself. And I looked at it as a sacrifice. And then once I started looking at it as an investment about halfway through the season, I started to see how things were paying off by me making these decisions for tomorrow, right? For the next day. And that was a while ago. That was almost 5 years ago now. And this weekend, I was thinking about that because, it was my nephew's birthday. All my nieces and nephews, a few of them have April birthdays. So I said, well, what do you want for your birthday? He's like, I want to spend the day with you. He wanted to hang out with Uncle Danny for his birthday. That's what he wanted to do, right? So I took him. He wanted to shoot these airsoft guns, which is like paintball. It's pretty insane, but that's what he wanted to do. So we spent the day together, right? Whatever he wanted to do, I bought him a bunch of shit his mom doesn't let him eat. We went out and had a good time. Okay. I filled him up. Oprah. That's a new one, Curls. I like that.
You're not seeing me, but I'm hearing you. That's number 3 in your strikes. You even
my gosh. That's crap.
Bad kid.
Yes, dear. So I got to spend the day with my nephew, and he's 12, and it got me thinking. His older brother, when he was 12, which was like 7 years ago, I remember we were hanging out one day, and he wanted to do something from the store, and I'm like, well, come on, I'll take you. And my sister was like, he can't ride with you. And I remember being so like offended, but like I was drunk, like most of the time, right? Or high or something. And at the time I couldn't see, all I thought was, man, there's nothing that I wouldn't do for this kid. Like how could you not trust him with me, right? And it was because I hadn't earned that, right? I hadn't invested anything into being the type of person that she would want her kid hanging around, or not hanging around, but putting his safety in my hands, right? And that hit me a lot this weekend, because now like I had the ability to do anything with them that I want to do. And for me, it started with just the sacrifice is how I looked at it, but investing, right? Investing back then, the things that it was going to take that sucked, for me to get the result later, and now it's totally worth it. But at the time, I didn't see what was going to be there, And in addition to that, my niece, who's just turned 21, for her birthday, she wanted to get pedicures with Uncle Danny, right? So I took her to get pedicures the other day, and that was awesome, right? And I have the ability to do that today, right? Like I can hang out with these people that mean the world to me, because of the work that I put in. The best apology is change behavior, right? People don't care what you say, they care what you do. And by making those investments, I've been able to have people in my life, right, that are worthwhile. So, I reflect on those personal things a lot of times when things suck in business, or if it has to be with your health and fitness, or whatever it is, like the different areas of my life, like when I'm having trouble meditating because I can't focus, right? I just go back to these things to draw upon, and then the more that we kind of put those in our bank, our mental bank, I believe it gives us the ability to reflect on them, right? Whenever we need to do that again going forward. So, excuse me. Something else we talked about on this call before. So those of you guys been here for a while, you probably remember part of this conversation, but I feel that it goes with this topic that we're talking about, and it's timing, right? It is that, what I have seen from my experience in being here, just in life, I guess, but I believe a big hurdle that keeps a lot of people from just committing to something and taking action, investing in themselves, is they're waiting for the conditions to just be perfect before they do something, right? Kind of getting ready to get ready to get ready before they do anything. And we have to remember, nothing is ideal. The conditions will rarely be perfect. The time is almost never right. If we wait around for the moon and the stars to align, we'll never start anything, right? There will always be a reason not to get things done. And there will always be a reason not to do the things we know we need to do to improve. We can always find that reason, right? The weather is great outside today, but I'm just not feeling it, or my energy level is fantastic, but the weather sucks, like I don't have to deal with this issue, or, someone else's drama I have to handle before I can do this. Like it never stops, right? The list is endless. And there's this quote by Jim Rohn. If you don't know who Jim Rohn is, you should check him out. He's the OG. He's like the original Tony Robbins, right? Says, what is simple to do is also simple not to do, right? The magic is not in the complexity of the task. The magic is in doing the simple things repeatedly and long enough to ignite the miracle of the compound effect, right? And I love that. I'm a huge believer in that. It's been my experience that none of this stuff is really hard. The technical stuff's kind of hard for me, but that's just a small piece of the puzzle, right? It's really just checking a box. All the things that it takes to be successful are really just about consistency, And it's about waking up and showing up and doing that every day. You know, I'm sure you've all heard that complexity is the enemy of execution. You know, and like I can overcomplicate some shit in my head. When I'm the most effective, is when I make things the most simple, so that you can execute. You know, like we can build up these ideal scenarios in our mind of what needs to take place, right? And then we'll begin something. You know, we can complicate our way out of our own success, you know, in any area of life. And, you know, we tell ourselves these stories and we're kind of lying to ourselves, right? Like we're buying into the myth of average. You know, I don't know anyone here on this call who woke up today to be average, right? I mean, I certainly didn't. You know, I woke up today to do whatever it takes to be better than yesterday, right? And I was pretty awesome yesterday. So like I've got my hands full, you know what I mean? But that's the commitment. You know what I mean? That's waking up every day, you know, having a little humor, being able to laugh at yourself, right? I'm obviously, you know, I keep it light, but it's a valid point, right? Like we have to wake up every morning and be able to look in the mirror, you know, and for me at least, you know, to be able to talk to myself and say how much I love myself and how great the day is going to be. And for me to not feel like it's complete bullshit, like I have to act on that, you know, like I can't wait for these conditions to be perfect. Like I have to take this action. And, you know, if we believe this myth, you know, that we create and start expecting the ideal, we won't get anywhere, you know. Instead, let's deal with what's real, you know, and the real is messy. You know, the real is sometimes chaos. You know, the real doesn't always make a lot of sense. You know, it's not always fair. It's not usually fair. You know, terrible things happen to good people, you know, and good things happen to shitty people every day. That's just the way it is, you know, and in the real world, we can't go grow a garden that doesn't have weeds in it, you know. We can't have a zoo without animal shit, right? We live in a universe where like things get old, like people die, like that's life, man, you know, and nothing and no one is exempt from getting broken, you know, or getting busted. And that's what's real, you know. And like think about this, like when was the last time you went a whole day and everything went exactly as you planned it? Like I can't. You know, like I was trying to think of this when I was going over these notes. I think the last time I had where all day went exactly like I thought it was going to go was last year when I was blind in one eye and COVID, and I had to sit straight up around the clock for 2 weeks and I couldn't even bend over or move. That was it, because I knew I couldn't move. So I had to sit here and just look straight ahead for 2 weeks. That was the last time everything went as planned, because I planned to sit there all day and stare straight ahead, or I was going to be like blind, right? That was it. And that was not cool. So when we look at things like that, and for one, that was super boring, right? Like obviously sitting there all day is boring, but just the fact of everything going exactly like you think it's going to go. I know we think that we don't want any surprises and all that, but it's kind of exciting, right? To be able to deal with these things, and then we have to handle them as they come up, you know. And I mean, deals fall through in life. You know, your car breaks down, friends get mad at you, right? You name it, it's going to happen. This life we have here, man, on Earth, is not utopia. You know, it's never been, and it never will be. And the most successful people, I believe, and the happiest people that I know, are the ones who accept the conditions are never perfect. Excuse me. They don't deal with the way they wish things were. You know, they just deal with what is, man. You know, and don't wait for your schedule to clear, and don't wait for the weather to be nice, and don't wait to be financially secure before you take that leap. You know, they don't wait to feel more confident or sure of themselves, and you don't wait for the energy or the motivation to come. Like, you just accept the world as it is and you act, you know. And I'm a big believer in just acting, you know, imperfect action. And most people fail to even start because they're just waiting for everything to be perfect, man. So, you know, my message is to just start, you know, build that momentum, you know, build our confidence by making and keeping those commitments that we make to ourselves. And just understand that, you know, we need friction to grow, right? Like that's how we grow. And you know, embrace the grind, you know, make it stronger. It's if we lived in this bubble, we would not have the ability to deal with anything, right? So just understand that it's going to be messy and embrace that, accept that. I got, my girlfriend's dad just gave me this plant. It's not a plant, it's a pepper, because I like hot stuff, right? And it's a little baby plant. And I'm not like I don't know how to grow a plant, right? I know you're supposed to water it. But he said that he puts a fan on it to simulate the wind, right? Because when he was trying to grow these plants, they would be weak and they would die because they didn't have any resistance. They didn't have the wind. They were inside. And the way that they make these plants strong is to put a fan on it to stimulate breeze, right? Because it has to have the resistance against the fan to grow, right? And that's how trees get strong. That's how they get their roots. And that's how I believe that's how we get strong. And that's how we, get the ability to what we call face life on life's terms, and make things happen. So that is about enough out of me. And so what I'd like to do now is have someone else talk, most likely with a much cooler accent, and see what we wrote down at the beginning on the things that we believe would move us forward if we do, but we don't put in the time and get it done. So Nasco, my man, what did you write, brother?
Hey, hello everyone. Happy to be here as usual. I'm really waiting for those calls, Danny. What did I write? I wrote two things. One is related to my physical health, so I just wrote more exercising. I really like something physical. And the second is to actually be more active with my video ads, because I'm kind of always kind of postponing that part.
Right on. Yeah. Okay, so what do you mean by more? Do you mind if we unpack this and try to help you do that?
Absolutely.
Cool.
Absolutely. Right. Yeah. Let's go.
So when you say be more active with your video ads, what do you mean specifically?
I would like to have the capacity, the time really, and also the mindset capacity that I can start producing more video ads and have the time to really create variations, edit them, put them together, test them. This is for the moment one of my kind of to-dos, which I constantly push in time. Yeah, and I don't like it because I'm not that kind of person. I normally have discipline to follow it, but this one really kind of gets sacrificed instead of really moving on with that.
Totally relate, man. So, yeah. So do you have the scripts written, or do you need to write the script before you shoot the ad?
Yeah, I have the script. Yeah, I have the script. Yeah, I'm writing scripts on a weekly basis, like different scripts, different stories. It's like video shooting and editing is my pain point.
I relate to that. Yeah. Except I'm not really great with the scripting or the shooting or the editing. So kind of screwed, but fortunately I can pay people to do most of that, but I have to shoot the ad, right? So what I do, for me, I don't know if this will help you or not. If you have the scripts written and it's just a matter of shooting it, is maybe commit to, all right, I'm going to spend 20 minutes shooting ads. Pick a day, pick a time, and just set it aside and go do it. And it's probably going to suck because you're not, well, at least for me, if I'm not like feeling it, right, whatever that means, if I have it scheduled in, I might not be in the right mindset. But at least if I set the time aside, I'll start, like put it in your calendar, like before people wake up, after people go to bed, which I know you stay up all night anyway, compared to me. So just set aside 20 minutes, man. That's it for a whole week, 20 minutes, and just see what comes out, right? I mean, even if it's a 5-minute ad, you could do it like 4 times, right? Something else I have found that was helpful is the guy that edits my video ads, because I suck at it, gave me this advice. He said, don't stop recording. If you're there for 2 hours, just record 2 hours. It doesn't matter, because whenever you have to stop and start over, in our heads, we're like, damn it, because I remember in the beginning, like I would get like 3/4 of the way through the ad and then I would mess up and then I would start all over. And then that frustration comes across, right? But if we just keep going and just take a breath and keep going, you're going to edit it anyway, and then you can put it together. So that might take some of the dread out of it. I don't know.
Yeah.
With the fitness, with the health, this one is easy, right?
Really?
Will you commit to doing one push-up every day between now and the next call? Just one push-up. That's it.
Here is my bike, and it's waiting for me.
That looks scary. That looks intimidating.
That looks scary.
I'm not gonna lie. But just do one push-up. If you want to hop on that contraption, if you want to run, if you want to do 1,000 push-ups, cool. But your commitment is just for one push-up, man. That's it. One push-up a day. Deal?
Yep. Let's do that.
My man. All right. Perfect. All right. You are off to a good start. All right. Who wants to share theirs next? Or I can just pick on people because I like doing that. That's cool too. Ian. John, you're next, brother.
I wrote down basically I put thinking of how others think and what they really want. So I feel like if I could do that, and I'm a bit the same as where Nasco is, like I started writing some scripts, but I never quite got there because I feel like I don't know where I'm going with this. So when you said that, I thought, that's it. If I can crack this, then everything would it's like dominoes, it'd all fall into place.
Okay. So what are you doing right now to figure out, I don't want to say to get in the head of your avatar, but like, what are you doing right now to try to figure that out?
Well, I was thinking of actually telling, instead of making up this thing about maybe a contrived ad, I would just tell a true story from my life where I was in a situation where I think other people are probably in, and just tell it like I'm telling to one of my friends and make that the ad. I know it's not really structured, but I feel like at least I could do it, and that would be one ad. Maybe it would just bomb, but at least I would get out of my system.
I love it. So it's been my experience to not have the expectation that an ad is going to do well. I remember Dan Holloway said when we first started, or when I first started, he said, don't get emotionally attached to your ads, right? And I work with Caroline Antonia. That's who helps me with my ads, and she's got a group launchable. You can go in there and she helps with all this scripting stuff. But she'll actually be here next week. But I shot like my first ad that really took off is my 51st ad. 51. Swear to God. You know what I mean? Some people have it as their first ad. It doesn't matter. As long as you're willing to not quit, who cares if it takes 51,000, man? It'll all be worth it, right? Like, how many people do you know that finally get the result and they're like, yeah, it wasn't worth all that hard work? Nobody. That doesn't happen. You know what I mean? But most people just don't get there because they quit, and most people don't even start, right? So if you telling that story and putting it out there is what's going to get you started, do it. Who cares if it's technically correct? You know what I mean? I wouldn't put $100 a day budget on it or anything, but because you got to have call to action. I mean, there are certain things like that kind of need to be in most ads, but some of the most successful ads in the SFM technically are not. They're not there. Like, I don't want to name any names, but there's some ads of people who made hundreds of thousands of dollars on an ad that, like, if you look at it and you're like, this doesn't follow any of the rules, but it doesn't matter. It connected with people. You know what I mean? And that's really what it's about. It's about just connecting and telling that story, man. So if that's your thing, make it happen. But you gotta set aside the time to do it. So I mean, we meet again in 2 weeks. You think within 2 weeks you could tell a story and stick it on YouTube?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Why don't we do that, man? Why don't we do that? And then you break that down. You know, if you need to say, okay, I need to spend this much time shooting the ad, I need to spend this much time editing it if you're going to edit it yourself, you know, whatever that is, and you just break it down. I mean, you got 2 weeks now. That's really, was it 168 hours in a week? So you got 300 and what's that, 36 hours to shoot a 4-minute video, man. Like, simple, right? And my math could be wrong because, you know, I have a phone now that has a calculator in it, so I don't try to think a lot. But I believe you can do it, my man. So I look forward to for you to telling us that you have it done. Shoot me a message when you have it done, or throw it in the group, or tag me or something, man.
I'll do it, definitely.
Awesome. I can't wait. John Thwaites, the legend. What is up, man?
Yeah, hi, Danny. Yeah, it's always a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for having me along. When you were speaking with NASCAR, I wanted to say something, and I think the same comment might apply to Ian as well, because I've recently, I have an accountability partner, and we do this stuff together, and I just think it makes so much difference. I don't know whether either NASCAR or Ian do have accountability partners. I've got one no from Ian there. But it just, somehow or other, you feel the need to keep up and keep producing and be productive. And maybe, you know, that's part of the thing that works for you and Caroline, you know, with you and Caroline. It's just the fact that you've got to keep showing up and you've got to keep doing it.
Well, for us, it's the fact she's just a lot smarter than I am. But yeah, I feel what you're saying, you know, and I do have an accountability partner that's been for the last couple of years. And I agree with you, John. You know, I think that we need to be accountable to ourselves, but that doesn't always work out, you know, because what's easy to do is also easy not to do. So I agree with you on the accountability partner thing, man. I think it's huge.
Yes, yeah. And I think in Dan's Scrap the 9 to 5 in the resources, there's even a find an accountability buddy. You know, if you're struggling to resonate with someone and reach out to them, I think there is actually a resource there that you can, you know, use to make that connection, perhaps. Yeah, with someone probably at a similar stage of the journey, I would think is probably ideal, or further ahead than you might be, you know, might be good as well, mightn't it?
Well, you know, and there's also a committed to action challenge within that group that I hear some super charming guy is actually head of, you know, and he helps people with that. But you know, what I think is cool from an accountability partner perspective, what I have seen that has been pretty successful is to find someone that has different strengths than you. Yes. You know,
yes.
That's why Caroline and I work very well together. She's super creative and super smart, and I get shit done. You know, and a lot of people that have these ideas and they can come up with pages and pages of content, but they don't execute, right? They don't take action. And I'm really good at taking action. I just go in the completely opposite direction of where I'm supposed to be going, right? So if you get people that one person might be great in their health, the other person might be great in their business, whatever it is, you know, I think that's helpful.
Yeah, complementary. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
That's the word.
Okay. Just a thought, guys. You know.
What did you write down?
I wrote down. Well, I wrote down two things. I wrote down journaling, which I sort of dip into now and again, and I know it's good for me, and I know it, you know, actually produces content as well. But I've never keep it up. And the other thing is, I want to sort of cut out sugar and carbs and start burning ketones at some point. Not forever, but just as an experiment. And I'm just finding it very difficult to completely cut that, you know, stuff out of my diet, but I'd love to. So come on, Danny, what are we going to do? What's the plan?
Simple, my friend. All right. So I didn't say easy. I said simple, right? So the first thing with the journaling, I feel you there. I relate to that. If my sponsor gives me an assignment, I'll write notebooks. If it's up to me to just journal, I don't write anything. So one thing I would think would be helpful is if you commit to writing one sentence a day between now and the next call.
Yes. Okay.
The sentence could be Danny is an asshole. It doesn't matter, right? You just got to commit to one sentence.
Yeah, I can make that commitment.
That's it, right? If you want to write more, cool, but if that's all you feel like writing that day, just write one sentence, and then in a couple of weeks we'll address it again. That's it, right? See, these things like NASCO with his one push-up, you with the one sentence, right? The reason, I kind of got this idea from this guy Stephen Guys. He wrote this book called Many Habits, and he actually wanted to be in better shape for the one push-up came from because he had diabetes, and he wanted to be a writer. He was a professor, and his thing was 40 words a day for a year, right? But the goal is to make it so laughably simple. There's no way you can't do it, right? Like, who can't do one push-up, even if it's like a push-up on your knees? I mean, whatever. It's like most people's excuses. I don't have the time. That's just most people's excuse for most things, right? Which is total and utter bullshit. Everybody has time. It's just how we choose to spend it. How much time did you spend on Facebook today, right? So with the writing thing, it's just about, like we talk about a lot on this call, it's making and keeping commitments to ourselves. That's how we build self-confidence. And if you make the commitment to yourself, and of course now you've made it to all the cool kids, so you can't let us down, that you're going to write one sentence a day for 2 weeks, man. And it will at least get you started, because these things, the health or the journaling, all that, we're trying to create healthy habits for a healthy lifestyle. So what if it takes you a few months to make it a habit? So what if it takes a while to get there? It doesn't matter, right? If you're trying to do this for a whole lifetime, what's a few months? What's a year? It's nothing in the grand scheme of things, right? But I think that's the delayed gratification part. And most people think like, okay, I gotta do this now. We talk about that a lot with habits. People say, all right, Danny, start Monday, I'm gonna get up at 5 o'clock. Like, why? Well, because you get up, all these successful people get up at 5. I'm like, what time do you get up now? Like, well, 8. Like, you're not gonna get up at 5 o'clock. That's ridiculous. Get up at like 7:45 for a week, and then 7:30, and then break it like that, right? If you're building habits, it doesn't matter how long it takes to build them. It's about how long you keep them. Okay. So that's just my humble opinion. So
yeah,
write the one sentence.
And a promise made is a debt unpaid. There you go. That's from a poem from the Tales from the Yukon.
Dude, everything sounds so much cooler when you say it. With the no sugar and carbs thing. So this is my opinion on that. Look, do you track your food?
No, well, no, I don't. But I do shop healthy. I don't have a lot of things in the house, because otherwise I would just, eat them.
All right, so here's where you start. Download a free app. It's called MyFitnessPal. It's free.
MyFitnessPal.
Yep.
Yeah.
Download that app. It's free. You can go look on YouTube and say how to use it. It's simple. Just your goal there is to just track what you eat for the next 2 weeks. Don't change anything. Don't change anything. Just whatever you eat, whatever you put in your mouth, put it in there. That's it. That's all you gotta do.
Okay.
That's it. That's simple, right? I promise it'll help.
Well done. Thank you, Danny.
What we track, we improve. Right? Most people don't realize the cream they put in their coffee. They don't realize all the things that add up, All right. Thank you for sharing, my man. Who else? We got time for other people. I can call on people. Who else has got something they wrote down in the beginning? All right, Sylvia. You got it. You got to. Oh, there it is. How you doing?
I'm good, and you?
I'm good. You always look so sad, though. I'm wondering.
I always look sad.
You look the opposite. I just like messing with you.
I wondered because I think I smile too much. Sometimes I'm told it's too much.
No such thing. No such thing.
Okay, but there are sad moments. Carl's, I think, is beginning to know me too much.
Hey, look, life is never always perfect, right? And here's the thing.
Yeah,
happy is a choice. Happy is a choice, right? We choose to be happy.
True.
A song can make us happy. You know what I mean? And even if things aren't going great, we can choose to have a good attitude.
Yeah. Exactly.
So
when I wake up in the morning and I say, thank you, God, I'm alive today. I tell myself, like, somebody else is in hospital, somebody else didn't wake up today, so better do good today, better be happy today, better be happy to be here.
That's right. I got a guy, a sponsor who needed some help with his attitude. And so I gave him the assignment of every day when you wake up and you look in the mirror, when you brush your teeth, you have to smile at yourself in the mirror every day for 30 days. It's going to feel totally ridiculous, but just the act of smiling will change your mindset.
I would like to have your ego, though, to be able to tell myself, like, hey, girl, you look beautiful today. It's something I just don't do it to myself, because I love your ego, as you say, like an elephant.
Right. I'm a master in my own mind. You know what I mean? It's all good.
Yes. Anyway, so this is what I wrote down. I wrote 3 things. Writing the books I began, because I began 3 books, and I realized, like, since 2008, I'm capable of writing like up to 15 pages, and I live it. It's like I wait for inspiration again. It just comes, and it's all aligned. And if I was just to sit down and do everything, I would literally put down everything at once. But I feel overwhelmed. I have no time. And sports and fitness, I walk an hour every day, but I don't know, my weight is just like a problem all the time. And since it's not making progress, I get angry at myself. So, like, I literally do not make more efforts, but I walk every day for an hour to tell myself you did something. Because, you know, as Jim Rohn says, if you take a few steps around the block, you've already taken a step and putting something in your health bank. I walk an hour every day. Would like to be able to just do like I used to do before. And just up to now, I put on 15 kilos, and it's just not right. I'm not happy with myself, but I'm not finding the boosts to push myself because I'm feeling heavy. But anyway, and then the last one I wrote is meditation. I would love to just calm my head down and do it. I attend every Monday for the meditation class with SFM, and to take another half hour myself every day is like hard, because when one is praying and reading the Bible, I don't count it as meditation. I want to meditate for myself, to just calm this head down. And I wish I could get back. I feel overwhelmed. 2 babies, work. I like, so maybe I'm too I overspend into my work and Forex. So I think I just feel a little bit overwhelmed, but in a good way.
All right. So the first thing you got to do is breathe. You got to remember to breathe. Right. So did you say you're writing 3 books or reading 3 books?
Yeah. Writing. I can read a book a week every writing. Yeah.
You're writing 3 books on 3 different topics.
Yes.
Props to you. So I don't write books. You know, I can read. You know, I'm pretty proud of that. But I haven't written anything. So I don't have a lot of advice on writing 3 books at the same time, because I don't have any personal experience with that. I don't know how things come to you. You know what I mean? Like for me, like I have to do one thing and finish it, do one thing and finish it, do one thing and finish it. Otherwise I'll have 3 unfinished things. Right. But I don't know.
I get bored too quickly. That's why.
Write about something more exciting.
I have too much I think in my head, and because I get bored quickly, and so I want to touch on several things at the same time. And in the long I don't end up finalizing on what I have to do.
Got it. Okay. So this would be my, without knowing more, this would be my experience, right? To try to help with those things. With the writing, I don't have a ton of experience to share with that, but I would commit to just like we talked with John, just a little bit each day, right? Just a small amount, commit to that so that you're at least moving forward and making progress. And eventually you'll finish it, right? It's not like you've got some publishing date that you're trying to come in by, right? So just do a little bit to move forward. Yeah. That's what matters, is forward progress. As far as the meditation, 5 minutes. Just says like 5 minutes a day. For me, when I was trying to get in the habit of it, I set a reminder on my phone, because a reminder, I don't know if you have an iPhone or not, but like with an iPhone, if you set a reminder, if you don't clear it, it will stay there until you clear it. And I can't stand having things on my phone. So it will get done before I clear it eventually, right? So, but just commit to 5 minutes, just 5 minutes, that's all. I mean, do it on the toilet, whatever. You got 5 minutes somewhere, right? Just find it. You know what I mean? Like everybody's got 5 minutes. You know what I mean? You might be multitasking, but just pick 5 minutes and do that for your meditation. Okay. And as far as the health aspect, props to you for walking an hour a day, right? I saw this thing I love one time. It said, it doesn't matter how slow you go, you're lapping everybody who's sitting on the couch, right? And just the fact that you're investing in yourself and making the effort to do that is huge. My guidance for anybody is the same I told John, is to just track what you eat. That's it, right? Because it does, like, it's what we put in our mouth. There's a saying, you can't out-train a bad diet. And even if it's not a bad diet, most people just don't realize what they eat. They don't realize the portion. Somebody will say, well, this has only got 100 calories. I'm like, yeah, but you ate 4 servings of it, right? So my advice to anybody is just,
I went to the doctor last week, and I have now measurements of all that I eat.
Okay, so track it. I would track it. That's it. So just start there. Everything you put in your mouth, track it. Because what we track, we improve. I would just start there. That would be my humble advice for that. All right. Thank you for sharing. All right. It looks like we are almost out of time, guys. So let me get to my back to my stuff here. Okay. So next, well, I guess not next week, in 2 weeks, Caroline Antonia will be joining us to share her awesomeness and how she has served so many people in our community, myself included. So I'm going to be interviewing her, peppering her with those really important questions that I'm just known for, right? So we should come show up and support her, learn some stuff. Guarantee it will not be boring. The action items for this week. The first one is the same as always. Reach out to someone, tell them that you're grateful for them, tell them that you appreciate them. Don't do it in a message or a text or an email. Do it in a voice note or call them. You could write a letter, I guess, if you wanted to, because that's more personal. But just tell somebody, let them hear your voice and tell them that you appreciate them. And if they mean something to you, that makes a difference. Second action items is to get accountable to someone. It could be someone on this call. If you have an accountability partner, it could be them. It could be me. Reach out. Anybody who's on here will tell you, like, if you reach out to me, I always get back to you, right? About something that you've been putting off that you're going to have done before the next 2 weeks. We've already gotten a couple commitments here from Nasco and from John and from Ian, from Sylvia. But there's something you want to move forward on, get accountable. That's your action item, is to actually do it. Mine are, I'm accountable. By the next call, I will have all 3 of my yoga products on Amazon listed for sale with all of the A+ content done. I've been putting that off because I don't like doing that shit. I will have at least 5 new emails in my AWeber members campaign. I currently have 1. And I've been putting that off. And I will have my broadcast campaign with at least 30 emails in it, completed and active. And I currently have 0. Those are my commitments, and I'll have all of those done by the next 2 weeks. Book of the week, book of every other week, is Tribes by Seth Godin. I love me some Seth Godin, and I can't believe I hadn't read this book before. It is awesome, and it's not big. It's another small one. It's not as small as the last one, but it's a good book, and you will like it. Tribes by Seth Godin. Check it out, because that's what we have here. Like, there's a reason why, in the SFM we call it a tribe, right? It's not just a group. Like a tribe, it means more. It's people look out for each other, and I think that you guys will love the book. So that is all we have for today. Curls, thank you for being amazing and for making all of this happen. We really appreciate you. And thanks to all the cool kids that show up and support us every couple weeks. It's always great to be in your space, and I really appreciate it. And make sure you show up in a couple weeks while I interview Caroline and Tony. And if you have any questions that you would like me to ask her, send them my way and I will add them to the list. I'm grateful for you guys, and I really appreciate you showing up. Thank you for all that you do. Curls, you the best.
Thank you so much. See you in 2 weeks' time. Bye-bye.